part of that duality, right? Because the sun represents that hot aspect of the duality, right? The sun represents the male aspect of the duality. Okay. Let's continue with the sun. If you notice during the day, it's often a lot more no what is it? A lot more loud. Okay, this is when the sun is out. You see a lot of people doing activities. And at night, which is when the moon, okay, it's like during the day, the sun has its, his time, right? And at night, that feminine energy, okay, the moon now comes out. It's like it's her time. It's her time to shine. And if you notice at night, that's when you tend to see a lot of subtleness. You don't hear a lot of noise. That is all aspects of feminine power, of feminine energy, that a lot of people oftentimes mistaken that subtleness for the lack of. They often mistaking that energy of subtleness for the lack of power or lack of whatever, when in fact it is not. Okay. And so going back to that energy of power, women have these, extraordinary gifts, extraordinary, energies that they have. And many times they are not tuned into it. They're not tapped into it. And part of it is because society has taught us that, society has kind of taught us not to appreciate that subtle aspect of power. Okay. And so because we have been taught to not appreciate that subtle aspect of power, that also means that we've been taught or socialized to not appreciate feminine energy. And I do believe that that's part of why there's so much of an overcompensation at this time, because feminine energy and feminine power, divine feminine power at this time, I feel like the divine mother is her energy, Mother Nature is, her energy is at an all-time high. And it's like she is in the process of revamping, recreating things, because that's what she does. That's what she does. All right. It's like this energy of creation and destruction. She gives life, she takes it away, kind of thing. And then there's a cleansing. So right now what's happening is I feel like it's that time where the divine feminine is demanding to be seen. All right. That power is demanding to be seen. And part of what I was going to say about the compensation, right? What you're also seeing is that a lot of males are kind of like, what you're seeing is that a lot of males are exuding a lot of feminine energy. Like it's what you're seeing right now is like an overcompensation, I would say, of feminine energy within males. Now I know a lot of people are gonna get upset about this. Yeah, because that balance is not there. That balance that's supposed to exist in nature is not there. So where women have not been appreciated for quite some time, I do feel like there is a powerful energy where the divine mother is asking for that divine feminine energy to be seen, to be known. Okay? It is time for that divine feminine energy to be seen like never before. And you're seeing it. And sometimes what you're seeing, don't mistake this. Okay. Sometimes what you're seeing is folks kind of like overcompensating for that energy. Okay. Overcompensating in a sense that they're trying to tune in and tap into that power in the wrong kind of ways. All right. I'll leave that alone. All right. So let's talk about some additional ways, because I want to make sure we focus on the subject, right? Divine feminine power. All right. Or the power of the divine feminine. So many of you talked about, what characteristics you think of when you think of divine feminine power. And I think Cortez mentioned something about Ma'at. Okay. So I wrote down the moon, that subtle aspect of power. I also wrote down I also wrote down birth, okay? Life. That is a subtle aspect of power that we must not, you know, we shouldn't fail to see and acknowledge the power of life, okay? The power to give life that the divine feminine has. Now, remember we said that feminine energy can also be seen in the divine masculine as well, yet it looks differently, okay? Whereas men, you may see that energy, shown in their ability to create things, projects, so on and so forth. For women, one of the most powerful aspects of that energy of being able to give birth in life is bringing a human being into the world. Okay. Now, that's not to say that one is more powerful than the other. It's just that each of them have their own roles. They have their own place. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. When we're talking about that duality, we're not saying that one is more powerful than the other. Okay? That is what creates balance. And Cortez, I think, you definitely, said something that resonated. Ma'at represents that aspect of duality, which reminds us that it's not a hierarchy, right? It's, two things, two energies, right? Or that aspect of polarity, positive, negative, hot, cold, right? It's complementary. When we say something is when we're talking about the duality of things, we're talking about things being complementary, one not existing without the other. And so when we're going back to speaking of power, right? Someone who's truly powerful knows this. They know that they don't exist in and of themselves. They know that there is no I without we, right? It's that aspect of duality. Someone who's truly powerful respects the power of someone else. Someone who's truly powerful respects the power of someone else because they will understand that their power is part of a greater good, or is part of a greater entity.